Hello, Internet! After a long ass year, we are back. Episode 17 of the Within Crisis podcast. We are here. I am one of your humble hosts here tonight, Flynn. With me, as always, is Ash. Hello, good sir. How are you doing?
Hello, who would have thought? It's been 6 months since I've been back now, and to think that it's been over a year since we did that last one.
Yeah,
It
you
was
was literally in Japan last
October,
time
I
we did
believe,
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
in Japan, and yeah, it just feels like one big magical fever trip. That especially when you land back home and you sat there in your bed and you just think, was that real? Did that really happen? All that, it was incredible. So yes, an
Then
experience full
you
of
come
fun
back
and
home, then life just seems to go back to normal, and you're going, did I even go away?
Oh yeah, let's be honest. There was there was about a good month and a half of like this where I felt bliss and it was
Yeah.
content that I'd done such a magical trip, and then there was 2 months of in the pit that oh my god, I'm back into real life. No doubt about it.
At least in that time, you did manage to get some nice old gaming in.
I did. Yeah, I managed. So obviously the last time we were on, we the last episode, I was hitting Japan hard, and not hard as in hitting the liquor, although there was some drink.
There were some
It
highballs,
was,
some Asahi.
there was for sure. Uh, I was just trying to experience so much, and to a point it got a bit exhausting, and so I made sure to after that, because I ended up horribly ill when I got to Osaka, which was a shame because I wanted to spend more time in Osaka and between Nara and Kyoto, and I was kind of bedbound for 3 days, which was a shame, really. But yeah, I made sure to schedule in stops just to kind of find a place, just stay there for a few days, just relax, and I had my laptop with me. Just go figure, we did the episode, and I had my Switch with me as well. Which after Japan, I was in Thailand. I started in Bangkok, and I found this. We will find the name of the place. It was this fantastic shopping center. It's like 10 floors of everything you can imagine. It was nerd heaven, and they were selling like all these Switch games. So they were Asian regioned, but being a region free console and English settings on most of these games, if not all. You pick games up so cheap. I picked up over is it Unicorn Overlord, which
Yeah.
back at the time that was released in the UK, it was going for like 50, 60 quid. You could pick it up the equivalent of I think it was like 800 baht, which it was like it wasn't pennies, but it was much cheaper than you get in the UK. So I was like, oh, gonna pick up some games here. I ended up picking up, I think it was the Pixel Collection, Final Fantasy, as well as that Super Mario RPG that I thoroughly enjoyed. I'd never played that back in the day, but yeah, there was quite a few, and
Yeah,
I
seeing your
really enjoyed it.
Nintendo Switch game shelf after you came home, it's like, did you just go away to buy cheap games? Was that your real purpose?
Yeah, there was at a point on this trip, I think it was Malaysia. Again, I had picked up a few games and I was carrying around a stack of games. Luckily, my girlfriend Liz came out to join me at one point, so she was able to take some back with her. It was ever so nice of her. And I thought, I got a nice collection going on here. Like strictly, not strictly JRPG, but RPG in a sense. And the Switch just has so many good games like like released on that said console or remasters that have been because obviously at the time you had is it Tales of Vesperia that had come out, but then obviously Tales of Grace is now on the Switch, and just remastering all these good games, and if Vesperia and Graces have been remastered, it's only a matter of time before Exilia. Nice to
Abyss.
get back home.
Abyss. They have
Oh,
been
and Abyss, yeah.
teasing Abyss, man. They've been tweeting a lot of Abyss stuff.
Abyss did have a 3DS remastered.
It did, and it was really good. It was a solid game.
There is Symphonia, but obviously we have mentioned that in previous episodes that it wasn't the best port, so obviously being a PS2 port. But yeah, just got to enjoy these games, and got to complete quite a few in some of the nicest settings that you can imagine.
Yeah.
So
This is the way, and on my side, nothing much changed. I played games on stream. like outside the stream, I've been trying to get into my TCGs more. Like we are slowly working on Project TCG. At Within Crisis, we're getting Ash to jump into different TCGs, see what he thinks of them. He's had you've had a jump in the deep end with Digimon because you didn't have the time to really practice beforehand.
I join in as a conscientious objector to trading card games from the fact that I'm not willing to financially commit, because you see when you go to some of these trading card events, a friend of yours, I believe, from Duke's Gaming, when we went to visit, spent how much and how many booster boxes did he pick up that day?
Al, yeah, that's nothing, man. I know at least one of his decks is a couple of grand, because that's magic for you.
Listen to me, I've got a Switch collection that cost me a pretty penny that I built up and I enjoy. I've got a whiskey collection. I know it's not gaming relevant, but still, it's a collection. It's costly, and you can only commit so much of your financial resource, especially right now, being an adult as I am, going for a house purchase with my partner. So, that's quite expensive. Go figure.
But yeah, I think one thing you've noticed though with TCG communities is if you go down and say, "Yeah, I want to learn something," I don't have a deck, and people are just like, "I have 20 on me. What do you want to borrow?" Which is really cool for doing something like this project where we can just get you involved somewhere, and people are like, "Yeah, I can loan you a deck. No fucking trouble." So it's more a case of you just trying to learn the system, see if it's something you enjoy, and just getting your feedback as a newer player to all of these.
Being kicked into the deep end of Digimon trading card game, that gave me a migraine. There's so much to take in there and to remember.
Yeah, we're getting a new, I want to call it a game system. It's like one of the Digimon TV shows is all about applications. They're not Digimon, they're Atmon, because it's, on your phone and tablets and all the apps, they become their own creatures. So they're doing some weird fucking mechanics. And me and a couple of fellow TOs are like, we're going to have to get together and work out all the fucking rulings of this so we know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah, and from the fact that you say, like, is it every expansion, there's, like, certain rules become kind of redundant.
Not with Digimon as such. Some things get revised just to make the game easier.
Yeah,
it's a lot of...
Pokemon probably more in that sense.
Yeah. Certain ones, they do re-evaluate how the game works. I know, I think... Yu-Gi-Oh! Does it a lot where they change their master rules and that can drastically affect how the game is. I think between Master Rules 3 and 5, the game is so weird, and holy shit, we got bot spam coming in. I'm so glad I haven't got... Yeah, we got about 1 million followers coming in right now. Thank you to the bots for all the follows. We are now up to well over 100. Thank you very much.
I will not program and take over the world. Particularly AI, I do in my...
Yeah. But yeah, it's like certain TTGs, they can really fucking mess up how the game's played. Where Yu-Gi-Oh! Went from having 5 monster zones, 5 spell and trap, you got a field zone, your extra deck, trash and main deck. Then they added 2 separate zones called pendulum zones, and then they added link zones. Then they converted the pendulum zones into the left and right of the spell and trap zones. So it's like just between those changes, the game drastically changed. Which is why Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like playing fucking chess and you don't understand what the hell is going on. Now we're now up to 186 followers. This number is going to keep going up, and I'm so glad sound effects aren't on right now. I did not enable that overlay, and I am so glad for it. 260.
It'd be like ching 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 ching.
Oh
my god, we're getting the money.
We got a guitar riff. It's like do 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 do, and now would have just gone the entire show at this point.
So our stream would have just sounded like an hour long of Slayer. Awesome.
Like it, yeah. But getting back up to video games.
Yes.
There have been a few that we've played, and we've wanted to wait for the show to really have a big chat about. One thing that me and you have been playing before you went away, and we still play from time to time, Ever Crisis, Final Fantasy VII. gacha based, but it doesn't throw it in your face. That is what I like. It doesn't throw the gacha system in your face like the City Opera Omnia.
And I like the fact that they released it on Steam. And
Yes, the
played
PC
it on
client.
laptop.
Oh,
Yeah,
pucker.
very nice. Yeah, I like you said, it is gacha, and just because that is the in Japan, that is the big, well, it's a very big appeal out there. It's insane. It blew my mind just seeing when you sat on the Tokyo subway line, just people's faces just glued to the phones, and they were all playing gacha games.
The bots have
Right,
now taken us up to 372 followers.
We'll see. We'll be in the thousands before we end. Yeah, and
I can monetize that shit.
like you said, it's not in your face, so it is a good game, and I'm actually finding myself wanting to follow the story. Granted, the main 7 story, I'm kind of skipping through just a little bit because I know this. But,
How many times have me and you gone through 7?
Exactly, yeah. And to be honest, the kind of gacha point and click, and then there's a bit of like follow around. There's one little bit of map, but there's an odd battle here and there. I'm not so So the gaming mechanic itself, I'm not really that interested in. It's the story. Obviously, I was trying to fill it in because the West, we've never really had the full Final Fantasy VII experience or the full story, and I like how it is kind of filling in the spaces, especially when obviously the updates and the release of Ever Crisis kind of coincided with Rebirth as well. Which
Getting the first Ultra updates was really good. Gives us some more context for Glenn, Lucia, Matt, I think were the original 3.
Yes.
Yeah. And going now to where the Kretz is in the party, and it makes no fucking sense why she's there.
Yeah, well, we can't really talk about it just in case people are watching.
No, there's spoilers here, folks. You were warned right now. There's spoilers.
Yeah, we're aware with the whole kind of crisis called cloning is a thing, so it didn't really surprise me that much that Lucrezia's there.
Except she was just some random researcher until Hojo and Gas took an interest to use her in Project S.
Yeah.
Which is why it's like, why does she look as young as her son is right now?
Yeah, well, it's not the I actually haven't caught up with the most recent.
I haven't, so we've got some speculation going on right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ever Crisis is enjoyable. I do need to get back into it. I'm at the point where I'm trying to leave it for a couple of major patches to come back in and have a bunch of content to do.
Yeah. It's nice to kind of jump in and just follow a bit because it's quite a balance really. When pick up a fully fledged game like Visions of Mana is a game I'm currently playing right now. Very beautifully designed game, and the story's really compelling, but it's one of those that you need to kind of sit down and like really get into it. You can't just kind of dip your toes in and out of it, and I think that is one of the appeals of like Ever Crisis and gacha games, is that you can just kind of jump in and out.
Yeah, it is nice to have a game that is on the go experience, so it's shorter segments so you can just pick it up, put it down, which is why I'm so curious how Final Fantasy 14 mobile is going to feel. I am hyped for it. I am absolutely fucking hyped for it. It looks brilliant. The new attack animations, it all looks flashy. And we have Gold Saucer on the go. That's what we really wanted, was Gold Saucer on the go.
I did see a meme about you know, like when the lithium battery's gone in someone's phone and in their pocket, and they've essentially just caught fire. It's like having a pocket firework essentially, and it's like when trying to run Final Fantasy 14 mobile.
Oh, yeah. Especially when we get into Battle of Embers and fight Ifrit.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Because I know you're looking at Discord rather than the stream right now, but we have got new like fire particles in the background just to make the stream look a bit fancier. So
this is fine. Everything's on fire.
It looks like we're in chaos. You know, we're within the crisis of chaos. But yeah, what else have we got on the docket to talk about? Eodin Chronicles 100 Heroes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know there has been some criticism about this, but
Oh, I fell in love with it from the get go. From the rising, that side scrolling thing to set up, into playing it pretty much religiously non-stop until I finished it. I didn't
yeah,
get
it's
100%. I did enough. I recruited everybody. I did like 90% of what the game had to offer, and I just loved it. It was like Fantasia a bit. It's like it has all those early 90s style RPG elements, the storytelling, but it looks a
that
bit
is so
nicer.
like for essentially what is a Kickstarter game. Like the
Yeah.
Edge of Eternity is a good example of this. This was like a homage to kind of the Final Fantasy games, and even though the guys who built it, like they give it a really good job. Like they did a good job, but it's you're not going to live up to that kind of tight. Like you're not going to compare yourself to a AAA title
Yeah.
and live up to it really. But I think you're doing Chronicles. Well, it did such a good job that it essentially has somewhat revived the Suikoden
Yeah.
series itself. So, but yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed the game, the music, the art, just that kind of. It's just again, I think we've mentioned it. It's just yeah, like eye candy. Just
Yeah.
it's like on the sense of the like Octopath or
Yeah, the Team
Triangle
Asano stuff,
Strategy.
yeah.
Trina Sano's like games are just beautiful to look at, and even even though they are
Yeah.
essentially pixel.
Do you know why I love that art style so much? It doesn't age like 3D graphics does. Because,
Yeah,
like, you look at all the PS1 games now, you try and stretch that onto an HD TV, and it looks so drawn out, so fucked. Whereas you get anything that's pixel art and you stretch it out, it's all pixely and shit. This is what it looks like.
I've always had my argument for most, unfortunately, most AAA games now for them to actually make money. They because they're so graphically hungry and they're so lifelike in the way they look that these games cost so much to make that I just feel like they put so much effort into making it look so like ultra realistic that the story and just everything else somewhat kind of becomes like second place to all that.
Yeah, a lot of
And
that is just how game companies are run these days.
yeah, and I just feel like the two HD 2D games, like let's also mention Dragon Age 3 HD. Um,
And also 1
these
and 2 HD come in
just
soon.
goes to show you don't need to have something that looks lifelike for it to be beautiful.
Yeah,
And those
definitely.
games, and from the fact that well, I would assume I'm no expert, but I assume those games cost less to develop because they don't require they're not as large and as open scaled as some of these big like
Yeah.
RPG games that we have these days, and they can put more effort into the storytelling. And I think actually when it comes to a game like that, and you're looking at pixel characters there, and if there's like an emotional scene, you're not really going to see it. You're not going to see the nuances in the
You
character's
see
expression.
that the way
But
Octopath Traveler 2 is set up, oh, you see emotion.
but yeah, but they managed to make up with
Yeah.
that with the music and everything
Yeah.
else. So that's why I just find those games so beautiful.
Like, Octopath Traveler 2 is probably one of the best games I've played. It is so well done, so beautiful to look at. The soundtrack, oh, Cabron, the soundtrack. Yeah, it's just phenomenal from start to finish. You can see where they took Octopath Traveler 1, realised where they can improve things, so it wasn't just 8 separated stories that just got thrown together at the end. This time around, it was actual stories that combined sets of characters. So you are the depth of the world was a lot more prevalent. How you interacted with the world, with the day night. Oh, so
Like I
good.
say, Triangle Strategy was a game that I had owned for a few months. Actually, you borrowed
I
it off
bought
me
it
and
before you
played
finished
it
it. I
yourself.
completed it twice.
I
And God,
I
I forced you to go, dude, finish it. Do it. Do it. Do
and
it.
I took it with me while I was away, and it was at the time I was in Chiang Mai, and I had a few days off, and I just thought, oh, I'll just play this game. I played that game for like 4 days straight.
Yeah.
I did nothing but play that game. I was committed. I was
Yeah, you can
I
see
was
why I
I
bugged
was
you
on the
to play
train.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, again, Tibasano, the storytelling is just there, especially with Triangle Strategy, very Game of Thrones esque style with a hell of a lot more fantasy attached to it.
they call it is it the golden ending?
Yeah.
I inadvertently got the golden ending because of my choices. I actually you make throughout the game to get that, they were just naturally my choices. So I'm a good guy, clearly.
Yeah, I played through it twice. First playthrough was just me going where I felt I should go for my own personal taste. Then the second time was the golden path to get a true ending, and yeah, really good. I'm very excited to see whatever Team Masala brings out next. Whether it's an autopath, whether it's a triangle strategy, whether it's they have got a third game, right?
Octopath. There
No,
is even more one.
autopath, triangle strategy, and I couldn't remember if they made a third.
Bravely Default? Was Bravely Default Team Masano?
I think it was because the autopath system was very close to the bravery system.
Because before Bravely Default, because you have Bravely 2 on the Switch, you had Bravely Second on the 3DS, and you had Bravely Default on the DS. You did have also Final Fantasy: The Four Heroes of Light, which was the same team that worked on the Bravely Default games, and that was something that I think slipped under everyone's radar back in the day. And it was a good game.
Yeah, definitely. To finish up in our little catch up, here we got a couple more titles. We all were about a third of the way through our show. We'll be getting on the topics. We got the Pixel Collection of Rebirth, Reload, and Beyond the Dawn. We pick one title each to finish up. I'll let you go first.
I'll go for Persona 3 Reload on this one because even though I really enjoyed it, I loved the remastered soundtrack, and it was kind of brought up to date with like more of the Persona 5 mechanics. I really did enjoy going back for the story of 3 because I found that one a little bit dark. It went from Persona 3, which was dark. Persona
it
4
was
a little bit darker, and then 5 kind of went back dark again.
Yeah.
5 is still my favorite, like, for storytelling, and obviously I think you can tell it's a remaster. They say it was a remake, but it's somewhat still a remaster because it didn't feel as there was much options in there as Persona 5. It's still
remake is you have to think of 7 Rebirth and stuff where they completely make it from the ground up. They change its fundamental identity. This is a full-on a remaster.
This is like Crisis Core.
But yeah, this is a full-scale remaster though because they did rebuild it.
Yeah. But no, I really did enjoy the game, and again, this was another game that I sat down and I was committed to, and to one of those games where I'm like, I had it on PS5. I was like, I'm gonna try and go for the platinum, and I did everything until I got to the last few days, and I always kept like 3 separate saves, and I kind of alternated between them just in case I needed to go back, made a mistake and whatnot. And then I realized I wasn't taking Elizabeth out on dates, which my partner found hysterical. The fact that it was Elizabeth. And that was the only trophy that I am still missing to this day, and my missus still finds that hilarious.
Whereas I screwed up one of the social links. So we both ended up with one achievement trophy left.
But at least with yours, if you wanted to go back through, you could just start a new save, just hammer that one social.
No, you still have to do all of them in one save.
You still have to do. Oh, I thought it count. No, sorry, no. It's your. What do you call it?
I don't have to re-get all my social stats, like the academics and all that shit. So it's a lot easier to do all of the social links in the second playthrough because you can start a lot of them earlier.
In that case, for me, it's probably easier then because I could just ignore everyone and just take Elizabeth out on dates.
Pretty much.
Still, you'd have to get through a good length of the game to get to that point.
Yeah, I am hoping to do a reload for Persona 4.
Yes, I like I said, Persona 4 was a bit lighthearted, but like I played Golden.
But it still had its dark moments. It's like, as you know, each Persona from 3 really dealt with a particular theme. Right? Persona 3 was consequences of death and life. It's about running out of time.
I'm not sure if they would though, because you had Persona 3, the Pocket, what was it? Persona 3...
You got so many versions of Persona 3.
Yeah, well, you had Persona 3 Fairs back in the day.
Yeah. You got Persona 3 Fairs, P3P.
Yeah.
They
But then,
re-released P3P as a console variant.
yeah,
Because they
I
did
just
the
think
same with Persona 4. They released Persona 4 Golden, re-released Golden
Gold.
on the Vita, then they released the console
No,
PC
no,
version.
Golden came out on the Vita, and then they re-released it for the PC version. I'm just wondering if they would just stick with the PC release of Golden and
No,
not
it'd be on
go
console as well. Because they'll probably do like Reload, reskin it, make it all look pretty, change the dungeons. Because that's the biggest thing I noticed with Reload was the dungeons. It wasn't as much copy paste.
as
90%
much
of it. They actually tried to make it more stylistic. Add
as much as I like Atlas and the Shinigami games. They have a really, really bad habit of uh, releasing the game and then
recent Game
going
of the Year editions.
well, releasing the game and then not even like a year later going, oh look, this is another version of this. Is the ultimate version of this game. Oh, is it the DLC for the? No, no, no. It's a totally new game. I'm looking at Shinigami 5 here. You know,
Vengeance.
Yep.
Never mind, yeah, Fez, the Golden, Royal. Yeah, they
Yes.
have a bad habit, which is why I'm glad they have stated that they have no plans to do that with Metaphor. Because Metaphor feels complete.
Mm,
Metaphor
they
really
never.
feels complete. They said they might do DLC, actual
Want
DLC.
to point out when Final Fantasy 16 came out, what was said it was that it was a complete package and there was no need for a DLC.
No, they
DLC.
said was they built as a complete package that they could add DLC to if fans wanted it.
Well,
Because they left the threads there. It's like, right, Leviathan the Lost. That was a plot they put in the base game. Obviously, it didn't need to be mandatory to the
can't-
story because of the way the story goes with Ultimate. It's like he doesn't even care that Clive doesn't have Leviathan.
I can't speak for Metaphor because I'm only 5 minutes in, but like, do you feel like that game is complete? But
Yes, very much so.
potentially could be DLC to it.
Definitely DLC attached. Yeah, the way the game ends definitely is one of those you complete the adventure and your character's like, I'm ready to go back out on the road. So it can definitely lead on from there, very much like Beyond the Dawn, where like you've completed the game, you're the hero, yeah, cool, and then something else happens. It leads into that rather than needing to add shit to the base game.
Beyond the Dawn, actually, is that the game you're going to mention?
No, as much as I don't want to talk about it, we have to talk about Rebirth. That was the big thing me and you was excited for before you travelled.
Yeah.
Me and you was so excited for Rebirth, and
To be honest, I really did enjoy the game. There were a few gripes that I think many people would agree. Some annoying little twat that keeps phoning you all the time, and the pocket the little mini games that get crammed down your throat. Obviously, being the two major issues. But I think one of my issues was, which to be honest, we should have been expecting this, is that who is the big ultimate baddie of this game? It's Sephiroth, and if you play the original game, when you go throughout it, they kind of tease Sephiroth here and there, but then obviously when you play for the game, you find out it's obviously just parts of Genova.
spoilers again, folks.
Well, come on, it's been out for a few good years.
Yeah,
now.
but yeah, that was the thing with OG7. It's like you don't actually meet Sephiroth until you go to Northern Cavern. When the weapons awaken, and he's encased in ice. Because that's when he got dragged through the live stream after he got stabbed through the chest. No, he got lifted up with his own Masamune and thrown into live stream in Nibelheim.
Yeah. So even though they do show Sephiroth throughout the game, it's like teased, or here he is in memories, or there's like a certain, just in memories or in talk, but there were other main bosses throughout that said game until you get to the district and you get to the last boss, and of course it's Sephiroth. So there is still that element of surprise. I just felt like
they've destroyed that so
Final
much.
Fantasy VII remake, from the very get-go when you play remake, you're following him, you're chasing him, and then it's like he's here, there, he's everywhere. And then from the fact that you fight him in remake, I was expecting the last boss of remake obviously disc 1 ending is still, I forgot the name of the Roadster vehicle, isn't it? When you play on the you're on the motorbike.
disc 1 ends when you head to Coral, right?
No, disc 1 is the on the motorbike chase and that last boss, and then you go to Coral.
It's been a while since I actually used discs.
Yeah, you load in disc 2, and disc 2 you're outside of Midgar, and then you choose your team and you go to Coral. That's disc 2.
I didn't
So-
become at that point. Yeah.
Car, I'm sorry, not Coral. We're skipping a bit here, a little bit, just a tad. And yeah, I just felt like it was to a point that I was like, oh, there's Sephiroth again. Oh, and there's Sephiroth.
Yeah.
And I just got bloody sick of it.
Yeah, 'cause-
especially when we got to the, is it the Black Temple? Don't quote me. When you get in the Black Materia. And you go to Temple Agents.
Temple Agents, yeah.
And yeah, again, even though Sephiroth does show up there in the original, they just strung that scene out too bloody much, and just to a point now that the next game I'll play it, but like, it's just gonna be all about bloody Sephiroth again, and the end boss is gonna be Sephiroth, unless of course they pull something magical out there. But then even then,
again, it's Genova, it's Sephiroth. It's like, cool, yeah, we're not expecting this, huzzah, woo. A part of it for me, I felt this Doom remake, as much as we're talking about it, is, again, it's too much Sephiroth. Sephiroth was always meant to be this mystery. Especially, I feel bad for the new players. Sephiroth was meant to be this mystery, this hero turned villain that is held in such esteem as this mythos, this legend. And then he's just downgraded to, hi kids, I'm here again.
Yeah, and another thing that for anyone who played the Final Fantasy VII interlude, or the if you got the DLC,
Intergrade.
or if you got the Intergrade interlude is Crisis Core. The titles, they making so many different titles, and yeah, Intergrade from the fact that it does tease Deep Ground, and obviously it kind of goes in for anyone who. Like you said, if you're talking about people who've never played the original games, never played Dirge of Cerberus, Crisis Core, and they just coming in as a fresh player, from the fact that they started kind of teasing Deep Ground and going into that, I was like, that's amazing. Like, carry this on. Like, if you kind of lead up the whole Vincent story, and from the fact that Vincent was included in this game, as he should, but then it's like that all that story, all that bit that they could have kind of gone into a bit more, just become irrelevant.
Yeah.
And I believe it's chapter 7 in the Midgar, sorry, in the Shinra mansion. And
Yeah, something like that.
My fucking god!
The worst part of the game.
That chapter can just go fuck itself. Because what an awful chapter.
Some of the writing in Rebirth is just bad. Like, I hate how they try to Assassin's Creed the open world, where you had towers to climb up. I think just the open world would have been a hell of a lot better if they went the Witcher approach. Just had question marks along the world map. That's points of interest that we can go to. It would have felt better. Instead of Charlie phoning us up, there's a tower nearby, can you get me some data? Because you haven't given me data for 4 seconds. 4 seconds later. Where's my data, boy?
I actually believe Chadley was written by the guys who do Duolingo.
I hate
it. They constantly pester you, and you just like, leave me alone.
Like I told you, he is very much Preston Garvey from Fallout 4. Another settlement needs your help. Another settlement needs your help.
He's the Duolingo owl.
The Preston Garvey meme has been around a bit longer, so we'll stick with that, and it's also video game related. But
just want to find out. See, look how irritating he's being.
Beer. But yeah, there were good points to Rebirth, but I don't recall the good points anymore. It's like, played 16, loved 16, it stayed with me. I recall so much of my playthroughs to 16. Rebirth,
I
not so much.
The vehicle that you pick up from Coral Prison.
Oh yeah, the Dune Buggy. That thing was fun.
The Dune Buggy. I did like driving around in the Dune Buggy. I did like that. I was worried that driving around that on the map, they would have buggered that up. Actually, they did that well.
Yeah. Do you have a single moment from Rebirth that stood out to you? One that stuck with you more than the rest?
I actually like the scene going into Gongaga because I like the music and the walk into Gongaga. Just the parts of that game that stand
Yeah,
out for me
Price of
is
Freedom.
just it's just the walking around and just it is a beautiful looking game, and
Yeah,
like
it is a
people who
breathtaking.
played the original game, you kind of have to. You're limited on the graphics, so your imagination
Yeah.
has to kind of fill in the gaps. But now you've got this game that it looks exactly how you expect it to look, and yeah, it just a lot of it did stand out for me. Not necessarily the story or the mini games or Chadley being an annoying little shit.
The There's one big scene that stood out for me, but the one I have to give special appreciation to, because you brought up Gongaga, is during a bit of downtime, you go into Cisne's house and he just got Yuffie going, I'm
Son,
so bored right out of my brain. That
I
stood out. Like, Yuffie was probably the best character in the entire game. Voice actress did an amazing job. The writing for
yeah,
Yuffie in particular was spot on.
you gotta think like fully fledged kind of CGI rendered characters. We had Advent Children. What was that? 2006 now.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
was back
going
in
back
college,
there,
man.
and yeah, getting to play this game and getting to play the, like that kind of level of, because I can remember being so excited when I seen in a gaming magazine or the pictures of Advent Children, and my naive childish mind thought, oh my god, is this the PS3?
Yeah.
Because obviously they were teasing the PS3 at the time, and no, it was still a few good years before we actually got to that level of graphics. But we're here now, so it's I enjoy it for what it is visually, but yeah,
So yeah,
sometimes a bit like that.
going back to that one scene, and I felt like they did it a lot of justice. Coral Prison, Barrett and Dine.
Oh yeah,
Out of
actually
all the scenes, that's the one that stood out beyond
that
that.
was that was sad. Yeah, I
Yeah. The
yeah no I
cinematography of how it's set up, it was so well done.
yeah because like that I kind of put it up there with when you played the original game, and that scene is just kind of a bit of a throwaway kind of video, like oh yeah they get shot at and dying falls and then obviously the scene where you fight him, and they obviously built on that as well with the Shinra soldiers kind of interfering as well. Uh, but yeah, it was quite sad up there, like up with like Zack, obviously in Crisis Core,
Yeah.
and that kind of ending with those two. Because
Yeah.
and as well as in the original game, Barrett's a bit of a clown. Really, he's this big
Yeah.
bloody meathead doofus.
To destroy
Good
the
character.
planet Cloud.
Yeah, but
What are you
like
gonna do
they
about it? We're terrorists, but what are you gonna do?
I feel like they've definitely toned that down now in this game, and yeah, you do feel really bad for Barrett and kind of what he went through.
Yeah. So we'll leave that and move on to our next section, games that we are looking forward to. So we didn't restrict this to immediate releases. These are just, we've been away for a while. We just want to mention games we are excited about. And I'll kick things off with Onimusha, Way of the Sword. Another franchise coming back, and oh my god, the trailer looks breathtaking. It looks very God of War-esque with all the Onimusha vibes. When he showed these trailers like this and Witcher 4, which is also on my list, it's like 2 seconds. That's all I needed to go, this is that game. I called it within 2 seconds. Same with Witcher. It's like, there's a bathtub scene. That's fucking Witcher. Whereas this, it was Japanese looking. There's a sword. It's like Onimusha vibes. Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, it really does look like a really good game. And I think it's on Onimusha 3 that was on PS2, I believe.
1, 2, and 3 were all PS2. And 4.
Two, all appeared.
Yeah.
It was only 3 that I played.
The one with genre, no?
Yeah, I did enjoy it. It's a really good game. So I'm not gonna say it's gonna be one of those I'll pick up on release. It might be one that you pick up and I play, because there's certain games I know I'm kind of more invested in than you are, and I'll buy it and I'll play it, and then you kind of like I'll borrow it off you. So I think this is a bit of a role reversal on that one.
Yeah. You bring up our next game, sir.
Yes, so there are a few that we're bringing up here, but I'm probably going to start with one that is going to be released in the near future, actually in the next few days, and that's Xenoblade Chronicles X. I am so happy that they actually listened to the fans and brought that out, from the fact that obviously Xenoblade 2 and 3 came out on Switch, and we were like, give us one as well. And they listened, they give us one, and then we're like, okay, it's just one left now. The one that was on
Yeah.
Wii U that not many people
The
got to play.
one, the one that explains how the world of 1 and 2
Yeah.
came to be separated.
And yeah, I love the Xenoblade games. I just love how they can push the limits of the Switch as well. And
Yeah, Monolith Studio.
yeah, I'm so glad that they also we are now at the end of the life of the Switch, which as far as for me that is, I'm putting it up there with the PS2 as it's joint best console in the sense that for me personally the choice of games, we are spoiled for choice. Especially if you're an RPG fan with the Switch, I don't think no other Nintendo console has come near the amount of RPG games that you can get than the Switch. Yeah, and Xenoblade, I'm so glad that's coming out on Xenoblade Chronicles Galaxy is coming out on Switch, and getting to play that and kind of completing that series. I say complete, but we've kind of got the prequels. We've got Xenoblade Chronicles 1, we've got X now, we have 2, we have 3. So the next one is obviously moving forward. It's going to be number 4.
But are you going to go back to the Xenogears? Because they are intertwined.
They are.
Even though they are pre-Monolith.
Well, if they've seen the success of the Xenoblade Chronicles games, that's if they were to do a little HD remaster. Nintendo's.
It all depends who has the rights for Xenogears. That's the thing that'll cause chaos there.
It was published by Namco back in the day, I believe, because I did have Xenogear 3, a game that I had but never played. I had a nice collection on PS2 of games, and there was a point in life where I was like, I'll sell it to make money, and want to beat myself up ever since.
It was a Square title, so it could be Square owned still.
Well, why would they want to release a game that'll compete with they have a franchise?
Yeah, Square Product Development Division 3. All the way back in 1998. So yes, Square might could do a partnership. You never know.
Possibly. All we know right now is that Square's kind of trying to hunker down and just commit to their main titles.
Yeah, we have not had a new Square Enix game announced since Nintendo Direct in June last year.
Yeah.
Well, we have radio silence from Square now, which is strangely worrying because it's been 1,014-ish days since Eddie Kingdom Hearts 4 news.
Yeah.
They announced that game way too early. But let's keep things on a positive note, because I am looking forward to the start of next year with the next game, Fable.
Should have been this year, shouldn't it?
I don't care about the character art. Give us the stupid Britishisms that we love in Fable. Give us the ability to kick some chickens, and I'll be a happy man.
I love that some of the shit people talk about this game and really like the parts they tried to slate this game for, and it's like, oh, the women look awful compared to, like, Stellar Blade. Yeah, don't get me wrong, an Asian woman in very tight kind of leotard, like leotard, like brilliant. That's I can see the appeal there for what it is, but Fable is not there to have beautiful women in games. It's supposed to be this ridiculous, like you said, very very British humor to it, and yeah. We know what we're getting ourselves into. Richard Ayoade, so his kind of level of comedy in this game, and from the fact that you think back to Fable 3, you had Nick Frost and you had Simon Pegg as well. Yeah. So
Stephen Fry in 2 and 3.
Yeah, so I am committed. I am invested in this game, I should say.
Yeah, it's like, fair enough, it's not Lionhead Studios, and it is Playground Games who make the Forza games. The Ryzen series specifically, but they feel like they know the product and what they want to achieve with it.
A game you've mentioned that, okay, it's not much of a massive jump. A franchise and a team that made action games, being the Yakuza games, dipping their toes into the RPG esque element and hitting the nail on the head.
Oh,
again.
damn
Done really
straight.
well. So the team that do Forza suddenly jumping in the realm of RPG kind of adventure games. Yeah, they could do a good job.
Well, we saw this with rstudios jumping from Killzone into the Horizon series.
Well, yeah, that's true. The Horizons are really good games.
Yeah, and completely different fucking genres.
Yeah. So, I'm positive for sure.
Yeah. So what else are you looking forward to, my dude?
So Xenoblade, and I think I've mentioned it because we did mention Earden Chronicles, another game that's coming out in the next few days. I know we said this not necessarily restricted to games that are being released in the near future, but Suikoden Collection 1 and 2 is just I have these games on PlayStation, part of my little PlayStation collection, and God forbid I do not want to play them. I do not want to damage them because they are bloody expensive.
Yeah.
If you have the PAL version, I'm not too sure about the NTSC and the American.
And it's always the issue if the printings are okay, because Warner Brothers have just announced a lot of their DVD printings from the early 2000s are no longer playable because of the process used.
Yeah. So, yeah, just want to try and keep those in good condition. And yeah, it'd be great to go back to the Suikoden games. I started on with the Suikoden series. I started the one on DS called, is it Ticarus? I cannot remember
I'm not
the
sure.
name of it. And apparently it got slated. That wasn't one of the best Suikoden games. Everyone keeps screaming on about 1 and 2, and I remember playing 2 back on the PS1, and yeah, it's a fantastic game. So more than happy to go back. And I never follow a series like a normal human being, clearly. Jumping in at 2, and then,
Well, you started Final Fantasy on 10 too.
On
So, yeah,
2,
you like to find the awkward title to jump in and wet your teeth.
Yes. I'm playing Charlie's Angels.
Wet
What
your
other
whistle.
things have they got in this series?
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's literally the night before we did this show, they announced the Suikoden 2 anime and the new game that's coming out for mobile.
Yes.
Stylized.
Yes, again, another one that's, I'm looking forward to, and I'll take a pinch of salt.
But they have gone on record saying that they are not half-assing this because they know it'll be dead in the water if they don't deliver a full experience.
There are good examples of games where have gacha elements, and if you do it good and have a good storyline. Obviously, we have mentioned Ever Crisis earlier on this.
To see the Opera Omnia as well.
The Octopath Traveler, is it?
Champions of the Continent.
Yep, that's a good game.
Pity it's not out in the West.
Well,
they had a Final Fantasy IV collaboration recently, and all the sprite art for like Golbez and Cecil and everything looks so good. It's like, I want to try this, just in case we never get 2D HDs of 1 through 6.
I'm getting confused. It is out in the West. Octopath on the I'm pretty sure I played this on my mobile phone. I only played a bit of it.
All I know is all the videos I see of it are of the Japanese client.
There is a gacha game that is currently started in China, and I think they're trialing it in Japan as well. It's the Persona gacha game, which is
Persona
not out in the
X.
West yet. Yeah. So there's that.
So before we move on, any last games you want to mention that you're looking forward to?
Yes, there is one very similar to Fable, where it got announced way too bloody early, because if it's going through some form of development hell, and that would be Elder Scrolls 6.
No, they just wanted to say, yeah, we're working on this, but Starfield's coming.
I wish they just waited till after Starfield, to be honest. Yeah, it's one of those like that I kind of expected it anyway. When that trailer, you just see it load up, it just pans out, and then they just say Elder Scrolls 6, and you just think, you showed us nothing. You actually have nothing.
Yeah, they are on record saying, yeah, nothing's actually in development yet. We just made this to let you know we're working.
We have this screenshot we just showed you.
Yeah, that's all they had. And I hope it comes out and it's glitchy as fuck, because that's half of the fun with Elder Scrolls. It's why Fallout's a bit more bleh to me. It's like, there's not enough exploited, there's not enough fantasy bullshit.
it's one of those games. There's a few in the series, but there's always one but most people tend to go back to. I find with Elder Scrolls, like you can go play Morrowind, you could play Oblivion, but like everyone just feels like I do it from time to time. I have it on PS5. I've had so many bloody copies of Skyrim now; it's ridiculous.
Skyrim's
I
a
was
cozy
like
comfort
coming
game.
back into it. But most people, for example, the GTA games, like you can jump back on 4, you can jump back on San Andreas, but you get so many people that always keep jumping back into 5.
Yeah, GTA Online is still going strong.
Exactly.
All right, for our penultimate section here tonight, we're going to be talking about games or game studios that have gone from strength to strength in recent years. And I want to kick this off with Ryuga Gakutoku, the Like a Dragon series. Because holy shit, these games get better and better. Whether it's main games, side games, they're all just fucking phenomenal lately.
Yeah.
To the point of, before you jump in, the newest game, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, their mini game, which is ship combat, is above and beyond a quadruple A game, Skull and Bones. It's like, this is just a mini game. And it's, gameplay wise, above and beyond a $200 plus $1 million investment that was on a contractual release with the Singaporean government.
It's weird that like most like games that are kind of cartoonish and a bit like jokey in their setting, that you find that the mechanics kind of reflect that as well. But I find that with the Like a Dragon is that it's a game that has all its humor but takes itself way too seriously. Like it's like playing a really hard a proper hardcore RPG game, especially with the summons as well.
Yeah, it is a case of, you tell me a story, it's like, this shit's serious. Then you just do one side quest and you run it into a Yakuza patriarch who makes him and all his subordinates wear adult diapers and get babied. It's like, what?
There's some humor in that game. That is very, very Japan-esque. Well, it is obviously a Japan game, but I mean, the humor's for the Japanese audience.
There's so many little side stories as well. It's like, you know the memes of a movie when you watch it by yourself, movie when your parents walks in. Yakuza series is like, walk around the corner, enter a cutscene, and you don't want anyone to know what you've just seen.
I can remember playing Like a Dragon as this one guy who's naked but he's covered in soap suds in Shinjuku, and like you're trying
Yokohama
on the street. All the fans are blowing on there, and you're trying to
water in the road, people attacking.
It's like this serious game mechanic, but just this clownish, cartoonish, bloody like story around it. So yeah, I do enjoy those games, and I will eventually get back to them.
Yeah, like Yakuza Pirates so far, like, I'm 20-30 hours in, and I am having the time of my life.
That's another thing. The game, the amount of like playtime.
Yeah.
Like you think these games are just going to be like a kind of light-hearted 20 hours, but no, they're like a 50.
If you blitz the story, you can be done in like 10 hours easy. But that's if you blitz. But one of the good things is they create a world that you want to explore.
Yeah,
the mini games that exist make sense. Like you go to a batting center, you go to a golf range. They're mini games that make fucking sense, they're not forced.
They're not forced,
which is the biggest plus.
We're kind of mentioning Rebirth here again, are we? Like, if you're gonna make a mini game, like
if I'm comparing RPGs, I'm comparing Infinite Wealth to Rebirth, and Infinite Wealth was hands down the better game.
You know when you've got a good mini game when it's completely optional, yet you know you want to go out your way to do it because you enjoy it. Not a mini game that sucks, but it's forced on you.
It's like anytime I go by Revolver Bar currently in Yakuza, it's like, do I stop off for a quick round of karaoke? It's just because I have fun with it. Like, Majima's voice actor is not a good singer. He knows it, but he puts his all into it, and so you still hype up, button mashing your way through it. It's like, yeah, I can still jam. But yeah, such a solid series. And also, since we've been mentioning it, Atlas, the the Persona team and their first outing for Studio Zero so far. So fucking good.
Yeah.
Can't wait for Persona 6.
I'm gonna change a game for me that's gone from strength to strength, and I'm gonna change what I initially was gonna go with, and I'm gonna the Dragon Quest series because from the fact that 11 did so damn well that because Dragon Quest they always kept that more so to Japan.
Yeah.
But like it's done so well in the West now that we want in on this, and from the fact that now they're starting to give it the HD 2D treatment for the originals.
Meanwhile, we are in year 6 or waiting for 12.
Yeah, so
Give us news already.
yeah, well,
No,
it's
they're
just
all.
the one.
The fates of something.
Yeah. This too, I know. Obviously, we're still waiting for 12, but then there's also the online game, which was an online game
Which
that
is
got made.
they've never announced that'll come to the West.
They never.
Which is number 10 because they've just released the offline version. It's like, yeah, localize it, ship it, localize it, ship it.
I don't understand why they won't. They know it's going to do well in the West. We want Dragon Quest. We enjoy Dragon Quest. Again, it's one of those, and it's very similar to I would say similar in the sense that like Yakuza, but a game that is a serious RPG, but it's quite lighthearted and quite like comical.
It is a back to basics RPG system, and that's what makes Dragon Quest enjoyable. Like when you finish 11, it's like we could defeat the bad boss. Credits. It's like there's no epilogue. Nope, you're done. It's like okay.
I feel like with the Persona games when there's always a hot spring scene. You play the Dragon Quest game, you can imagine someone going, what does Puff Puff mean?
Yeah. Oh, good old Puff Puff.
Oh, the innocent-minded people.
Yeah. So yeah, last one you did. Well, you had 2 still left on your list for this.
Yeah, so not as
We have mentioned Team Asano.
Yes, that was from the fact that you have the Octopath and you have the Triangle strategy games, and just that people are hungry for more. I know Square have said that they want to kind of hold back because they don't want to exhaust the public with bombarding them with the HD 2D, because obviously we've just had Dragon Quest 3.
Probably wanted more.
No, I kind of agree with them.
No,
like
I want Final Fantasy 6 in 2D HD, man. Like they did it. They showed that they can do it with the Opera House scene. Like 6 is the perfect game. Like you do not make a 3D remake of 6.
Now you mentioned
you do
that,
2D HD.
Gotta say, picking up the Pixel collection, I've never ever I've owned Final Fantasy 5 and 6 on PlayStation. I've owned it on Game Boy Advance, and I've never got around to completing them. I got so far into them and then stopped. But since the Pixel collection, and yes, okay, the boosters did help because old school games are very grindy, and I haven't got much time in my day to do that. But to actually completed Final Fantasy 6, and I'm on at the end of the second world of Final Fantasy 5, and they are incredible games. And 6, most certainly can do with a nice HD polish. But still, the Pixel collection and the old games still stand up to this day.
Oh, they do. Again, it's the pixel art. It's timeless compared to 3D art. That's the biggest draw of these 2D HD titles, is you can make them look modern and retro at the same time, and it works. It just feels like it fits.
I can see why they kind of hold it back, because they've just released the Pixel collection. Why would they want to then suddenly go, oh, here's a HD polish of 6? Like, it feels like they take the piss out their fans a bit there. Go like, oh, look, spend more money and buy a game you already own on 3 different platforms.
They've brought out surveys and stuff about 6 specifically a few times. Like, well, we want to remake 6, but it's so much involved. If we did it 3D, we'd have to do it like the Rebirth trilogy. And people are like, no, you make it 2D HD. You just make it look fucking nice.
We're still waiting on 9. So let's
do you reckon that exists? Because it's in the room. It's stuck in rumor mill right now.
So much, but there's so many rumors. Like, it just.
But there's been other rumors throughout the years that seem so credible, and they just turned to nothing. So it could have been in development. It could have been slated during this big shake-up at Square.
Why?
Just your gut instinct. Does it exist? but in the same credence along with the Tactics remaster. Because both of them was part of the NVIDIA leaks a few years ago, and they're the last two titles to not be released.
I I think there is some truth to it. They are there. I don't think they've been canned. I just think because nine like it's up there with seven. It's one of those they know they can't afford to balls it up. They'll piss off a lot of people. So if they want to take their time and to get it out and get released, polish the game, make it better, then I can wait.
Right, here's a topic that I brought up on last week's the Relic ride over on Ready Check Radio. Make sure to give the boys over there a look, see if you're watching this. But yeah, the thing I brought up is we have got the Switch 2 release event coming soon. Do you reckon that is going to be Square Enix's showing of 9 and Tactics? Whether it'll be a release title for the Switch 2 or not,
No,
but you reckon, because like I said, we are basically most of a year now since they announced anything coming, and this is the next big event that they can reveal anything to do with the company.
if Square are gonna release a game, announce a game for the release of Switch 2, I don't think it would be 9. But 9 is.
Like I said, it doesn't have to be a release title. They might just show it off for the first time. It's like new console. This game that's been rumored for a couple of years now.
No, I don't think 9 would be.
I think they have to.
Really?
Yeah, like Square Enix. You look at Square Enix financial calendar. There is nothing in the process of here's a release date, here's a release window, or a year release window of anything right now. They need something for us fans to go, cool, there's something on the calendar we can get excited about. Like outside of Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD coming in the next quarter.
You got to think you got to think business sense. You're coming up to the financial year, so maybe it's April. They're waiting before they announce anything.
Again, around the time that they'll be doing the Switch 2 event.
So yeah, quite possibly. But I don't think it would coincide. There may be a separate event that if they want to do.
Yeah, like I said, the last announcement was on a Switch Direct. Well, Nintendo Direct, sorry.
Yeah, well, quite possibly.
Like you've been saying, the RPG side of the Switch and Nintendo's business sense has been going for strength. The Switch 2, because they are not reinventing themselves, they've got their brand with the Switch. They need to go, here's hype, invest in us.
Remind me, the Switch, the first the Switch when that got announced wasn't Tears the Kingdom. The Zelda game on Breath of the Wild. Was Breath of the Wild a release title?
I think so.
Xenoblade 2 got released very early into
I think so.
Life. Yeah, so quite possibly. Who knows?
And as much as we be talking about as many positives as we can tonight, we are going to move on to our final topic. Game series or franchises that we feel have just been going a little downhill, not have fallen off a cliff, just the quality's not up to the par that we as fans have held them to. And for me, Final Fantasy is definitely up there right now between Rebirth, between Dawn Trail. As much as I love 14 still, Dawn Trail did not hit the mark for me.
Yeah, it's Final Fantasy obviously is quite a big franchise, but if you talk about if you stick purely to the main franchise, 16, like you said, is a brilliant game. But I kind of like from the fact that it's kind of it's a self-contained game, and I enjoyed it for what it is. And you kind of
even now I could happily jump back into 16, starting from scratch. I loved it from start to finish, but
Dawn Trail. So I was away when Dawn Trail came out, and I was kind of really hyped. I had my laptop with me, but unfortunately, by the time it did come out, I was staying in hostels that had god-awful internet, so I never had the opportunity to update my laptop. And even when I did connect, there was no way I was going for the lobby.
Yeah.
But it was something. I said as soon as I'm back off this trip, that is the first game out because I was so hyped to play it. And yeah, the story, I just found myself really finding it a hard time to keep invested into the characters and just the flow of it as well.
Yeah.
Just it was just it felt like it was
Yeah.
dragging, and then
I feel
suddenly
like I'm of the unpopular opinion that Dawn Trail feels like it should have been 2 different expansions.
well, no, I kind of agree. I feel like it dragged first, then suddenly it just sped up, and you're just kind of flying through. And they did Krill a dirty, really, with because
Yeah, it
the
should have
whole
been
start
Krill's
bit was
story.
going into a family, and then it just kind of like, oh, here's your parents, blah blah blah, whatever. Uh, yeah, I just felt like it's not memorable. The last boss, I can't even remember the bloody name of the last boss. The only thing that really stuck in my head,
Osteogenics?
yeah, the only thing that did stick in my head was Everkeep
No,
because it was
Orgenics,
like
sorry.
this music is too heavy for what it
Oh,
is.
yeah. The
For what was
Israelia fight was awesome. The Extreme was
was.
really fun as well.
Yeah,
Have you
so-
seen what boss we're getting for the next patch?
No.
We don't know what her name will be in Dawn Trail because obviously we know Otis is very much Steiner. We are getting General Beatrix.
Oh.
And
She's
I am praying we get a soaking rendition of the Roses of May.
She like if she's anything like Beatrix of 9, she's gonna hurt like hell.
We're going to get stalked. We're going to get Kim Hazarded. Oh, it's going to be a fun fight. Like, we're going through the Underkeep this time around. We're going underneath Alexandria Castle. So, I'm hoping it's good. Like, the story needs to bring me back into the fold. Like, the last patch was the first time in the history of me playing 14, since 2.0, that I delayed doing the MSQ a week.
Yeah.
Very first time in
It's
a decade.
I think I've said it before because I remember when Endwalker came out, I kept calling it like it was Endwalker, and then it was like my brain was going, "Say Endwalker or Endgame?" I'm like, "No, Endgame's Marvel." But then, funny enough, both of them, have End, and both of them very similar in the sense that everything before was leading up to this moment, and like you got to think. The DLC you had prior, like Shadowbringers and Stormblood and Heavensward, even the May 2.0, the Realm Reborn, everything that all the lore and everything that was kind of building up to this point, and now it's happened, and it's like, okay, now the Boreal Light's going on holiday. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's cause you can't just keep going from
we're back to how we was in 2.0. We're back to just being an adventure. We're going to explore.
just venture.
But
yeah,
but it was like they
tried to
brought the
make
Scions
Warrior
back in
back.
so quick. Like in game time, in the universe time, from us splitting up the Scions to us getting all the Scions back together, it's been a week.
Yeah, I would have liked if we would have band together with a brand new group of people.
This
I know
would have been a
there-
good time to just do a full reset. Fair enough, bring Cryle into the fold, dope. Erenville, bring him into the fold. We had some characters we could start with. We had Wukramart. There's 4.
Gratia.
Yeah.
Gratia, you could bring him in, but like because you did, but like yeah, I didn't see the need for Estinian.
Estinian was a comic relief, this expansion.
He did, but like you didn't necessarily need him to do.
No, he just showed up and disappeared, which I'm glad about in a way. He was just too off on his own thing, and we just got to say hi to him every now and again. But like, they did Wukramart so dirty as a character.
Well, they made her out to be like this really powerful, like soon.
No, think of it this way.
Let's dummy.
Right, let's say you was British royalty, but you was the kind of royalty who would mix among the common people. So say you're in London, you mix around all the different cultures in London, so you got your Asian communities and everything else. You would know customs at that point. You'd be able to go to a museum, select Malam, and all that jazz. Whereas, she had been, when you go to Kazamaluke, where the Vanu style people are. Yeah, you'll go there and say, yeah, I came here with my dad the last time they did one of these festivals and doesn't know the fucking greeting.
Yeah.
It's like, you should know this. You go to the markets, there's plenty of this race in those markets. You interact with these races on a day-to-day fucking basis to the point that you purposely go to a taco stand every day for at least twice. Well, you're interacting with everyone. It's like they made this dumb character who should have known so much more.
What they could have done, they could have had her be full of the like a fountain of knowledge, and she learned all these customs. They could have that, but they could have had it that because of the ritual and because the warrior light being with Wuklamat, that you had to, even though she knew all the customs, you had to learn them yourself. Like as the warrior light, you had to learn them. So all that was for your benefit, and that they could have kind of retained the whole.
She should have been our guide. For the most part.
Yeah.
Instead of Erenville being our guide, it should have been like, fair enough, she hadn't actually gone out to most of these, so it's like, yeah, it was 50-50, but she should be able to go, a certain merchant I know was here, a certain dignitary, certain this, that, and ever, because of the palace, the markets. You know your people.
It's funny because they obviously her two brothers, her two adopted brothers, like you have the really intelligent one, you have the really strong, kind of powerful one, and he was like, and she like complaining, like, what am I good for? And I'm like, you're really friendly. I'm like, come on, that doesn't really cut it.
Yeah. But it's like, it's one of those things that they try to do a, when Ida became Lys in Stormblood, they turned her from this really badass character who was a member of the Scions to this blank slate all of a sudden who couldn't do anything. It's like, why? It's like dumb decisions. Just some dumb decisions. Like, there's the fighting, the combat and everything, the encounters, all of them were great. The storytelling was let down. Part of my mind is we got spoiled so much doing Endwalker and Shadowbringers by Ishikawa and her writing. Like, as soon as anybody doing Everswell, because she was not one of the scenario writers who did the Dark Knight quest, I was like, they need to be on MSQ because the writing was so up and beyond anything else. And yeah, it feels like there's definitely a lack there, and they didn't know fully what direction it went. Like, they purposely now are forced a futuristic style society to exist on the planet, which feels like they've sort of run out of ideas of normal threats.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting content now, like, yeah, we're going through space to help cultivate some planets. It's like, well, that fucking escalated from us not having a lot of modern-day conveniences that exist on the planet Earth, but we can go into space now. Cool. And we can colonize and actually survive.
It's hard. I can see where they're struggling, because where do you go from Endwalker? Like,
you just do a reset. They had all these stories set up. They could have, the succession to the throne could have been cool. It's like, we could have gone, met Wuklamat, and they go, yeah, I'm over here trying to find a champion to help me on my succession to the throne. And because we enjoy our combat, as we know from our standoff with Xenos today, we're as a character a bit of a combat sexual at this point. We get off on the violence, and it's like, there's a tournament, I'm trying to find a champion to do the tournament, blah 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 blah. I mean, like, yeah, cool, then we're invested, we have a reason to be there. It's like, we're going to fight some cool ass strong people. The fact that our raid series is going to be tied into MSQ and not going to be the Trali Vidrals like Valgamanda, huge letdown. It's like, you just set up new styles of primals for us to fight, and you're saying, yeah, we fight 1 year, one in the dungeon. That's your lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've been going for a while, so since we chose our, you choose the series that he feels in decline, and we'll wrap up for the show.
Yeah. I did give this one a good thing, and I'm going with Pokemon, because I feel like you said, because the way you said the question, the way you phrased the questions, what game is kind of losing its magic, and yeah, I definitely think Pokemon, because I think they're riding a bit too much on the nostalgic factor, especially for the older gamers.
Yeah, we've had this chat with Matt before on our podcast. A lot of it is because they are forced into tying it into TCG products, but they have actually broken that. As of the last Pokemon Direct, they did not announce a new mainline game for the first time ever.
Yeah. Well, you've obviously got the new Legends in there.
Yeah.
And it does look like a good game, but again, it's just, this is one of Nintendo's powerhouses. It's up there with Zelda, and like, at least with Zelda, because of the Switch, they got Monolith Studios in. They made this big open world game. They pushed the Switch to the limits of what it can do because you want one of your mainline titles to be one of the best damn games on said console, and Pokemon is one of their babies. And I just think they doing it a bit of dirty, not having bloody voice actors, and the actual game itself. Like, oh, this one's gonna be full 3D, but yeah, and it was, but it was glitchy as hell. And compared to most of it, again compared to Xenoblade, it's really subpar, and I just don't think that's.
I know we had this chat. It's like Legends Arceus was a much better optimized and generally better game than Sword and Shield and Violet Scarlet, and it was done as a side game by a side studio in the Pokemon company.
By a side studio, so even then, even though that game was really good, I loved the mechanics of it. Storyline wise, it was a bit bleak. And yeah, it's just let's see where they go after Scarlet and Violet now, because they can't just keep riding on the nostalgia forever. They can't just keep doing the same thing where they just they actually release a mechanic in one game that gets received quite positively. Think for example, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. You're gonna have any of those Pokemon following you, and then they're like, oh yeah, we do away with that feature, and then just keep some features, and this also. Are they just gonna keep releasing another generation of Pokemon and releasing more and more Pokemon forever, indefinitely? It's just getting a bit ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Do you know what I think they should do? They'll print money. 2D HD, Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow era, but you actually add all the locations that Ash Ketchum visits in the anime, and you make one giant Pokemon the Kanto collection of Ash going through the entire anime journey, and it'll be fucking epic, and they'll print money.
I think they're well aware. I think the public, the Pokemon fans have been very vocal on why don't you just do this? Why don't from the fact that you got to think Generation 2 was is Generation 2 the only game that actually goes back to another region's game?
I believe so.
So another game's region.
Yeah, because of Johto and Kanto. I believe so. I believe that is the only time.
Even if you just have if you release, so they did actually. You're talking about easy printing, printing easy money. Just releasing Heart Gold and Soul Silver on the Switch. That alone would make some ridiculous money.
Yeah.
But again, that's just right on the nostalgia. I actually wouldn't. Are they that worried that if they released a new Pokemon game, but that new Pokemon game doesn't have any new Pokemon? It's a new story. If they were to do a really good story, and instead of here's the next generation of Pokemon games, but there's no new Pokemon, just the Pokemon we have currently in our.
I reckon we are going to see the announcement of the next mainline game soon. I think they are leaving that for the Switch to reveal.
No.
I think it's a case of Nintendo going, you're not allowed to announce you're working on this yet. We're waiting for X date.
I wonder if there'll be leaks.
Maybe.
That did happen quite badly with the last one, didn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with the state of the economy. But anyway, we've been going for an hour 20. We've actually gone over where we wanted to go with the show. But it has been lovely to get this back up and running and chatting to you, dude. Next time, we will try and get a guest back on. I am planning to try and get Duke on so we can actually talk to someone about what it's like to actually set up a gaming shop and having a hobby space.
Business talk, okay.
Yeah, that's the thing we've been doing the show. We've been talking to so many different types of people. We've talked about LARP, we've talked about video games, we've talked about everything else. So trying to get a couple, get business on. A couple of streamers if I can go around, because I think a good topic to talk about is how it feels to stream a game versus actually playing a game. I find, because I've been doing that, there's a different level of enjoyment to
how do you separate the hobby with the if it's a job? You got to be kind of committed. You got to this is why I'm more than happy just doing this. I couldn't run a game shop because you can't just sell and what appeals to yourself. You got to do what appeals to your customers.
Yeah. So yeah, that could be a really interesting show. I'll reach out to the Duke on Friday when I'm over there playing Digimon DCG, and we'll see how it goes. But for now, Ash, where can the lovely folks at home find you?
Well, just obviously on the stream as well. If every time I jump on, or I'm Knowing0250 on what is now X.
Yeah,
I'm on Twitter anymore.
Yeah, I've kept a little bird on the setup because I could not be asked to find the X symbol. It's like, yeah, people know where it is. A lot of us still call it Twitter.
Every time you say on X, gotta find you on X.
No, if I do that, I start thinking X Japan, where I do the full-on X Japan X. As for myself, you can find me within Crisis when I'm doing the podcast, doing streams, generally hanging out. You can find me every Thursday night at midnight UK time over on Ready Check Radio for the Reddit Grind podcast, talking everything Square Enix and Final Fantasy. And personally, you can find me at Flint_Lowlight on Twitter, but I mostly use the @Within Crisis account. So if you see me tweet, it's usually through that. So until next time, folks, take care.